Say hello to the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. So, Pixel 9 Pro Fold, I bought it. I've been using it over a week and a half now with my SIM card in it. There's a lot of stuff that I like. I think that they made some improvements. I don't like the design change because I really wish they would have kept the Pixel Fold form factor, but no use crying over spilt milk. This is what we get. And let me go and take the case off of it. This case is a minimal case. I bought it for 20 bucks. It was normally 29. I got it for 20 bucks on Amazon. I'll have a link down in the description if I remember by the time I get around to editing this. So, here you have it. The double stack camera system on the latest and greatest phone. It's got the Tensor 4, 16 gigs of RAM, 4650 milliamp battery. I need to apologize. When I made the unboxing video and talked about it a week or so ago, I said it had 5000 milliamp. I was looking at the wrong spec sheet. I've been covering so many phones here recently. I had the wrong thing pulled up and I read off 5000. I thought I was still looking at it. So yeah, 5000 milliamp battery, no, 4650, which is fine. I mean, it does seem to get mostly all day battery. It's still not as good, I think, as the Z Fold 6, which I think has pretty decent battery. Not as good as the OnePlus Open, but I think it is better than the original Pixel Fold. The original Pixel Fold battery life was trash. Like, I just had really bad battery life with it, which I spoke about many times. But the Tensor 4 is the big thing to talk about here. Tensor 4 form factor. And also, like, the couple of things that do irk me, the software optimization, it still feels like it's not really, the software is not really designed well for Android. It's one of those things where Samsung definitely goes a step further to optimize, makes it better for multitasking. Of course, you have the S Pen to use with that. You have Dex, and you can have up to 4 apps open at once. 3, of course, windowed, and 1 you have like a floating. Well, you have actually 3 apps open at once, so that's crazy, whereas you can only do 2 here. So it feels to me like the phone is in the front like of things, and then you have the actual implementation as a forethought. They just kind of glossed over it and like, we'll just throw Android on there, right? So looks wise, looks premium. Gorilla Glass Victus 2 on the front and the back. You have the big Google logo on the back here, and I don't really have a whole lot of complaints. I wish it would have had a more rounded design, maybe, if they could have even pulled it off. This whole frame around the phone looks weird. It basically looks like they snapped it into, like they took a Pixel 9 Pro and they snapped it into a frame. That's what it feels like. But the hinge is nice. It does seem improved. You can actually open it all the way. The only real things I have to complain about, I had some issues with the fingerprint scanner that seemed to be a little bit better. I am not crazy about the lack of optimization for being a tablet-style phone. And the dimensions. So that's an 8-inch screen, right? So you get this big 8-inch screen. Not so great with apps that you want to play vertically or horizontally, kind of like Boom Beach. So if you play that, it's going to irk you. It's not optimized for this. And it has basically the same Pixel 7a cameras as last year, still $1,800. So kind of got most of the negative stuff out of the way. And the last thing I want to say negative before I move to mostly, more positive stuff is the handset speaker is not that great. And it's funny because people always like, how's the call quality? Well, when you use the call quality, I don't know what it is, but when it seems like when you talk on it, it's hard to get it lined up directly centered on your ear. It doesn't feel like it's a natural spot, and it's not that loud. Like, it's okay. The speakers are okay. I wish the handset speaker were a little louder, and I wish it was the placement. I don't know. Maybe it's just the way the little speaker grill is up there or not. But anyway, so those are really the only bad things. If you wanted a bigger Pixel Fold, if you wanted something to be a little bit more mainstream, more like the OnePlus Open, you're going to like this. You're probably still not going to like the price tag at $17.99, 256 storage. I wish that they would go ahead and lower the price. So, of course, I got mine on sale at $14.99. You'll probably catch these specials and sales quite a bit over the next couple of months, especially as we get into like the new S25 coming out, holiday season shopping, all that stuff. But I want to do some quick side-by-side stuff and show you some of the differences between the original Pixel Fold and the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, so you can kind of see them next to each other and see what I'm talking about with some of the stuff. Here we have the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, the Pro Fold that's not Pro, and I've got also the original Google Pixel Fold right here, and I want to show you something when it comes to the two phones. So we have this new design, right? So when you take a look at the normal one, the old one versus the new one, they certainly made the Pixel 9 Pro Fold basically like the same size as, well, basically like the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. I mean, if you put this next to the Pro XL, it's a little bit smaller. So basically, and I think one of the reasons why they call it the Pixel 9 Pro Fold is because it's the same size as the Pro, but it folds, albeit it does have a completely different camera system on the back, right? So it doesn't have the high-powered, awesome, best in class smartphone camera. This camera on here, and I've talked about this many times, is the same one from last year. So if you want to see it, what it looked like before, basically it's this camera, but they rearranged it. So you have the Pixel 7a cameras, which they put inside the Pixel Fold, and now they put the same cameras from the Pixel 7a in the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, called the Pro, still charge you $1,800 for it a year later. Anyway, so that's probably why I keep not getting invited by Google anywhere. But, I mean, I gotta speak the truth here. At least what I believe about the phone anyway. Not that it doesn't take good photos. Like, I've taken some good photos with this thing. And I've taken good photos with the Pixel Fold 2, the original one. So, like, let's see here. I'll show you this one. I mean, it can take some pretty phenomenal photos, but what it does is it's all in the processing. And the Tensor 4 with the newer image signal processor combined, even with the 2-year-old budget series camera, still takes some stinking amazing photos. I mean, look how it handles the light. Look how it handles the shadow. This is at nighttime, by the way. Automatic nighttime mode photo. So it takes some great photos. So I don't want to be like, oh, well, yeah, it is an old cheap camera. But that's just maybe a testament to what Google does with their phones. So here's the thing. I like the form factor better on the original one. And I wish they would have kept this form factor and just kind of cleaned it up a little bit. Because remember, you know, the giant bezels on the inside, everybody hated. I didn't really care too much, but it does look super dated when you're using the newer stuff. So we see those giant bezels. And then you open up the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. It's like, wow, where'd those bezels go? They're pretty much, very much gone. You have the frame around the edges. But when you take a look at this, a very stark comparison, they really, really cleaned up the bezels a lot. But see, with the Pixel Pro, the Pixel Fold, when you opened it, it was more like a tablet, like it was shorter and wider. So when you open stuff up, and like say I want to play Boom Beach, it's mostly a native aspect ratio. So when you have tablet apps, because most tablets, of course, are shorter, like they have this wider, longer aspect ratio, I think it's better for kind of having everything in front of you versus right here with this one. You go ahead and fire up Boom Beach, and then it's squared off. So it makes it really annoying to play it because it cuts everything out. It's not in tablet dimension. Like, this isn't even optimized for it. I can't see my chat screen over here to talk to people in my task force. And then you have this limited narrow view. It's just not something that I'm crazy about. And then, of course, still, only you can do 2 apps at once. It's still behind what you can even do with the OnePlus Open. Still behind majorly what you can do with One UI. And, oh, my battery's almost dead. Let's see if it'll even pull up Boom Beach. But when you pull it up on this one, it's more of a native aspect ratio. Now, it's not perfect, but it's definitely better. And also, I really love the pocketability. I love this form factor. You know, it was great for like watching videos and stuff like that. Easy to handle. But anyway, that's about where a lot of that stuff leaves off. Because when you take a look at the Pixel 9 Pro Fold, if I can close that, Tensor 4, 16 gigabytes of RAM. It's got, I mean, it does have, I think, some improvements with some of the camera stuff. Definitely the screen is better, brighter. It opens up all the way. Like, you're not hampered anymore with this weird fold where it doesn't open up straight. Like, that's about as good as it gets. So there are definitely major improvements, but I wish they would have made those major improvements with the existing form factor. I felt like this was special. I felt like this worked really well, as opposed to these larger ones that I felt like it stood out more. And instead of trying to be something that it's not, and they're chasing more after like, okay, let's be like the OnePlus Open, and kind of lose their identity a little bit. But they've got the giant camera module on the back. And I don't like this frame right here. Like this, it looks like they just bolted a frame on the Pixel 9 Pro so that we could fold it. But anyway, the hinge, it seems to be fine. The opening, the closing, all that stuff. From a hardware perspective, it feels premium. And I think there are definitely quite a few upgrades here that you can appreciate. I still wish that it would have been cheaper. As of making this video, for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, it was $14.99. I don't know how long that'll be on sale. It may not even be that price when I publish this video, because I put a different video out on Cyber Monday, but I recorded this on Cyber Monday. However, I thought this was a good working model. But what I said was I was disappointed with the original Pixel Fold because it had the Tensor 2. It didn't have good enough cameras. The battery life on this was horrendous. Battery life on the Pixel 9 Pro Fold is definitely better. It's still not the greatest. It mostly feels like it'll get me through the day. Whereas this one, especially with heavy usage, it would be dead in 4.5, 5 hours. Like, I had terrible battery life with this. And I felt mostly like it was a ripoff because they were charging us $1,800 for basically a foldable Pixel 7a. So I do feel like they made the jump to a more premium, worthwhile phone, Tensor 4, all that good stuff. It is a much better hardware, better chip, and all that good stuff. So yeah, that's kind of my comparison thoughts between the two phones. Definitely the screens are better on here. I mean, the crease I think is better. It's not as wide. And it's not something that takes up as much of the screen. Hinge is solid. And I like how it has a little bit of extra there. For, it kind of locks into place, which is nice. The frame is beautiful. Design is nice. There's just, a couple of things. I wish they would have called it the Pixel 9 Fold or the Pixel Fold 2 as opposed to the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. Because people like me get caught up in semantics sometimes, but I maybe not in this case semantics because words have meaning, right? Words have meaning. So when you say pro, it's like, all right, what's pro about this, right? Is it the camera? No, it's not the camera. So it's hard, especially when you're talking about an $1,800 phone. But as far as usability, as far as typing on, as far as the phone, I don't really like this case I got very much. I like it as a hinge protector, and it has like a screen portion, but I didn't like that because it was built in, and I got my own glass screen protector and put it on here. So that stuff's fine. I got like a Mr. Shields one I paid, I think, $8.99 for a 3-pack. Easy to install, no big deal. Only other issue I really can speak to is the fingerprint scanner. So I don't know if it's because it's winter and my hands are really dry. So when it comes to these fingerprint scanners, they rely on moisture. Like there has to be a certain level of moisture in your thumb. Same things work with like the optical and things like that. It helps with the transference so they can read the fingerprint. If your hands are really dry, sometimes you can run into that issue. And I think that might be why I was having some issues whenever it came to getting it to work properly. But also one big thing, when it comes out of the box, it doesn't have always on fingerprint set up. So go into your security settings for your biometric to turn it on because out of the box, when the screen's off, it doesn't register your fingerprint. So I was like, why isn't it working? Why isn't it working? And then I went into the settings, I turned it on because I've ran into this before. But anyway, it seems like it's working a little bit better today. But the other day, sometimes I would have to rest my finger on it 2 or 3 times, a few times in the day to get it to pick up. But overall, I mean, I think there's a lot of nice improvements. But the moral of the story is I still feel like it's about a $1,499 phone. If this came out at $1,499, I would give it a lot more thumbs up and say, yeah, go out and buy it. I bought it at $1,499. I feel a little bit happier about that. But that's just my thoughts on it. So that's pretty much all I got in my review of the Pixel 9 Pro Fold. Again, I have issues with it being called a Pro, mostly positives, not a whole lot of negatives. I do wish, again, mostly price optimization and handset speaker, like my 3 biggest things, and the camera not being Pro level. Again, if they just called it the Pixel 9 Fold, I think that would have alleviated some of those issues. However, I think that it's a good phone. I've been enjoying using it. And it's something that I think if you're interested in a folding phone, if you get a good deal on it, if you like Pixel phones, yeah, you're going to like it. It's probably going to be your go-to. And there are some advantages over the Z Fold 6. It does have a bigger screen on the front, it has a bigger screen on the inside. You got that 8-inch screen on the inside. You have basically a operational Pixel 9 Pro on the front. So you don't have this whole, where's mine? I had my Z Fold 6 over here the other day. So, yeah, of course we know it's thinner, it's narrower, and it's something a lot of people complain about, kind of gravitated towards the OnePlus Open, and then some people really like this. So a lot of people are singing praises for the phone, like, oh, yay, we like the big changes you made. Maybe I'm stuck in the past, maybe it's just me, but I really love the original Oppo Find N, which was great because, or the Oppo Find N 2, because it had this more passport style design. I really like this passport style design. I wish they could have built on that, but they didn't. And for being a sophomore phone, they made some incredible upgrades, some big leaps, just like when we got with the Z Fold to the Z Fold 2. So it'll be interesting to see where we go next with the Pixel 10 Pro Fold, presumably next year. But for right now, if you can get a good price, if you can get a good carrier deal on it, things like that. Of course, 7 years of support, 7 years operating system update, 7 years of security patches. That stuff goes along to, of course, the Gemini, all that stuff when it comes to AI. It is a good phone. And if you like Pixel stuff, if you want a foldable, this is probably the right phone for you. So that's all I've got. If you have any questions, comments, gripes, concerns, complaints, all that stuff, please, of course, go to the comment section. I'll do my best to get back with you. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like and the subscribe button and the little notification bell if you want updates when new videos come out. And as always, thanks for being here. I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you guys next time.